We are starting Sirach. And so, what is Sirach? And so, this is one of the books that's in the Catholic Bible, right? The Deuterocanonical books. And so, it's important that we understand that this has been in the, and I got a whole article I wrote about it, is these books have been in since the very beginning. I mean, so they weren't completely accepted by all Christians, but in the Council of Hippo in 393, it was listed in the canon, and that was reaffirmed, I think, in 414. And then again in 1422, which is 70 years before Luther, this in the Council of Florence, this was also restated. And so this has been part of the Bible that the church has, since the very beginning, it's been taught. And so this is one of the books of, they call it the books of Solomon, just because they're wisdom books. And there's so much wisdom we can gain in terms of our life and how we want to order our life just by going through the book of Sirach and following the different things. It tells us how to live in terms of friends, a family, how to be humble, how to live in terms of our work, how we should speak. That's another aspect of it. How we should, even about things of suffering and death, the meaning of things. And so there's a lot of wisdom here. And if you could just follow these different books of wisdom and order your life accordingly, you'd probably have your life would be make a lot more sense and be a lot more satisfied. And it'd also help you avoid a lot of problems just by following the wisdom that's in these books, because it warns against a lot of the practical things too, like don't get drunk, don't sleep with other people. just practical things that we should all be following that are in here. And so with that being said, we can kind of look at the prologue. Whereas many great teachings have been given to us through the law and the prophets and the others that followed them, on account of which we should praise Israel for instruction and wisdom. And since it is necessary not only that the readers themselves should acquire understanding, but also that those who love learning should be able to help the outsiders by both speaking and writing, my grandfather Jesus, after devoting himself especially to the reading of the law and the prophets and the other books of our fathers, and after acquiring considerable proficiency in them, was himself also led to write something pertaining to instruction and wisdom, in order that by becoming conversant with this also, those who love learning should make even greater progress to live according to the law. You are urged, therefore, to read with goodwill and attention, and to be indulgent in cases where, despite our diligent labor in translating, we may seem to have rendered some phrases imperfectly. So we're called, even though it may not seem perfectly in accord, give them a little mercy on that, is what he's saying. For what we have originally expressed in Hebrew does not have exactly the same sense when translated into another language. Not only this work, but even the law itself, the prophecies, and the rest of the books differ not a little as originally expressed. When I came to Egypt in the 38th year of the reign of Eugeridus, and stayed for some time, I found opportunity for no little instruction. It seemed highly necessary that I should myself devote some pains and labor to the translation of the following book, using in that period of time great watchfulness and skill in order to complete and publish the book for those living abroad who wish to gain learning, being prepared in character to live according to the law. And so this is one of the most exact and accurate books in terms of the time it was written. It was between 200 and 175 BC that it was written. And we know a lot about it, which is kind of rare when you're looking at the books of the Bible. We normally don't have something so precise.
This says down here the 38th year is 132 BC. On the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I'm imprecise in my translation. No, that I there's a few other ones that I said. Yeah, 182. So that was King Ptolemy IV, translation. Ben Sear's grandson translated this book into Greek for the benefit of the Jews in Egypt. So that's good. Where I read that earlier. But it is, I mean, that, okay, so 132. Thank you. All wisdom comes from the Lord and is with him forever. The sand of the sea, the drops of rain, and the days of eternity. Who can count them? The height of heaven, the breadth of the earth, the abyss, and wisdom. Who can search them out? Wisdom was created before all things, and prudent understanding from eternity. The source of wisdom is God's word in the highest heaven, and her ways are the eternal commandments. This is, and you can see below, it says this illustrates the immeasurable vastness of creation. So who can understand God? I think that's the one question, is that we don't understand why God does the things that he does, because God is of infinite intelligence and wisdom, and we are a very finite intelligence and wisdom. And so we're seeing things from our little perspective. And I mean, when if you travel, I mean, have you guys traveled around the world quite a bit? But when you travel to different countries and different places, you see people with all different perspectives. And typically, I mean, even coming to this room tonight, what you're bringing to this is the accumulation of all your experiences of your whole life, right? And that's in a certain area or region in Michigan, in a country. And we're seeing the world from one perspective, whereas God is of infinite. I mean, if you were to travel, you could actually walk. If you walked, I don't know, I think it was, you could walk to the moon. If you could possibly walk to the moon, it would take, it was 27 weeks or something. I mean, it wasn't that long. I mean, if you were going so many miles a day, it was like 24 miles a day for nonstop, 24 hours a day. Maybe it was 270 years. So you could still, it's a while, sorry. It's a big difference there. But I mean, when you think about 186,000 miles per second, which is the speed of light, and then you think about how many, you're in the billions of miles when you get as far out as Pluto, and then you're in the billions of light years when you get into places still in our one little galaxy.
Right.
And so we can't even conceive. I mean, the vastness of God is inconceivable. It is so, I mean, I'm just mentioning these things because, we're seeing things in our little perspective, while I walked from the car down to the basement. But when you look at the vastness of the world, or when you take a microscope and you're looking down and you can see, to an atom, okay, so you're magnifying it, what, 10,000 times. Then you go into an electron, it's 100,000, and then you're looking at even more to the different particles, and you're talking about millions and billions of magnifications in order to kind of understand what's going on at a subatomic level. We can't even conceive of that. Looking low, looking high. I mean, and in God's world, he has every star, every planet, which are innumerable to us, named. He created it all, and it's all within. So for us to even think we can conceive of God, that's foolishness in our part. It's not possible.
Yeah, the Milky Way, 100,000 light years from one side to the other.
Yeah, think about
That's
that.
all salvation history in there.
Right. And I think when people might not conceive of what a light year is, but the speed of light is 186,000 miles in a second, right? And I think you can get to the moon in like 2 seconds. It's something like that fast. I mean, it's not a long period of time. But, it takes a long time. We talk about a year. So you take that seconds, how many seconds are in a year? And so how many 100,000 light years?
And one side, that's just our galaxy.
That's just our little galaxy, which is not a very big or unusual one.
One scientist says there might be 1 to 2 trillion galaxies. They don't even have a concept how many there might be.
And then in every galaxy, how many stars are each one? So you have to multiply that out.
Billions of stars in each galaxy.
Over a billion stars and over a billion galaxies.
Yeah, I mean, so we can't even conceive of it. And it's,
Trillion galaxies.
yeah, see, I mean, trillion, billion, it's kind of like our national debt. It just keeps growing.
God can do that, but he can't do the Eucharist, according to the Protestants. He can't do that. That's so unfathomable.
Right. I mean, and that's what I think we have to look at, is that we can't conceive of the greatness of God. And I think when you understand that should help us have humility, right?
Yeah.
And I think when you look at that, so that's this is a good way to start out this book, is just just awe and wonder. I think the one thing that, when you have kids, right, when they're little, the whole world is filled with awe and wonder of new things. It's all new. It's all, wonderful, right? There's awe and wonder. Even seeing a little thing, they're completely at awe with something new. And we kind of, as we get older, we kind of lose that, right? We shouldn't lose that awe and wonder. That song, How Great Thou Art, it's an amazing song, because that's what it's kind of, pointing at, is the awe and wonder of God. And I think when we approach this, we want to, pray to God, help me have an awe and wonder for you again, so that I can really see your creation with incredible, the respect that it should have. We had the privilege of going out and seeing, the ocean, and just watching just the vastness of it, and seeing the dolphins out there sometimes, and seeing fish and seeing jellyfish and everything else. It's just amazing when you look at the vastness of just one part of one ocean. It's just amazing. And look at God's creation, and how everything had to happen, and how the tides, he had everything coordinated. He had a moon in a perfect position, so everything worked out so that we would have life and it be sustainable for us.
The planets circulate in a mathematical calculation.
Exactly. God knows it all, and so for us, we should just be. And this should help give us more praise and thanksgiving and honor to God, just because He deigned to have us as His children. He loved us so much that He wants to be with us forever. And so I think when you have that in your heart, and then we should realize that how much God does love us and want us to be with Him forever. This is amazing. This is a good news. And that now that Christ has accomplished what He has, it's open for all of us. And so I think that's where, when you approach this book, and even, pray, let me approach the whole world this way. So I think it's a matter of perspective, right? So if you ever seen teenage kids, they're googly-eyed, and their whole world is, well, everything's, which is good. That's wonderful. It's beautiful. But at the same time, it's their perspective. And then you see other people, and their perspective can be not so good. And so that's a good thing to ask kids. So how are we going to have today? Is it going to be a good day or a bad day, right? Because I think a lot of it too is that it's our perspective, and we should have this perspective of awe and wonder of God, and have hope for it. And so I think we'll stop there.
And this does say in that little reading on that first page that it was written originally in Greek, and 50 years later, it was written in Hebrew, and 50 years later, his grandson made it into Greek. So maybe that's why you're getting 50 more years.
Oh, thanks.
No,
No, I know that's because I did read for sure, and I wrote it down. They're saying 182, but yeah, that's good. That makes sense. So.